So this is where my story with Gabriele starts. So let me explain you a couple of things. I'm a product manager. I'm responsible for AI at SUSE. He's amazing developer, and actually is actually the only humankind that actually willing to listen to me every day because I really talk too much. But we have different needs. He's knowledgeable. He has everything. He knows everything when it comes to let's say DevOps kind of use cases. So he knows how to set up a CI/CD kind of environment. He knows how to set up Kubernetes. He knows how to set up everything from infrastructure standpoint and develop microservices and a beautiful application there. I come from a world where let's say I'm act the data scientist on TV, but actually I know how to build a model. I know how to use a framework like TensorFlow, but I mostly don't know anything about Kubernetes. So we have different needs with different challenges, because you want to learn AI platforms, you want to learn how to use AI platform, maybe develop on top of them, and you want to have them quickly. And I want to have my platform up and running quickly, and I don't want to have to spend time how to install and configure Kubernetes and everything together. Now, Civo is already, emerging heaven for that kind of things, because it can give me immediate infrastructure at my disposal, especially on K3S. But our starting point was like, okay, what if you want to run locally or want to run everywhere? So we said, okay, you know everything about K, whether it is Kubernetes, whether it's K3S, whether it's Kind, whether it's any K flavor there. I know a bit of stuff around AI, how we can combine them, and actually they bring this idea about, oh, what about something like K3I? So let's start a little bit again. Kubernetes, the Swiss Army knife of technologies that comes out of a black hole. Now, the problem with the Swiss Army knife typically is that, I don't know you guys, but typically I'm basically find myself looking at the Swiss knife and said, okay, what the heck, why I need this tool and that, and that, and that, and that, because there are too many of them and too many options and too many complexity at some point. You know, I don't want to spend my life learning Kubernetes just to run Kubeflow on top of it. Well, but you know, Gabriele, that was my conversation with him, like AI is way more simple. And actually, somebody show something like that. Okay, this is from the Kubeflow community. And trust me, Kubeflow is one of the simplest things to install. This is just the flow that you go to install all the things that you see on the right of this slide. Do you have a single node deployment use case, a cloud deployment? You go for a local deployment. You already have Kubernetes. You need to deploy Kubernetes. Once you got that, okay, these are all the things that you need though. But wait, I just want to have MPI operator and pipelines. I don't want all this stuff. How can I install the single stuff? And all this stuff is single manifest. You need to learn customize. You need to learn kube control. You need to learn everything. Well, I don't know you, but I'm not that kind of guy that actually is going to spend days or weeks just to do that. So can we make it a little bit faster? No, maybe it's because we are Italian, maybe because we are coders, but I don't know what you read in this slide, but typically I know my ideas don't come from, but I know they comes out of my too much coffee in my life. So how can we make this simpler? And me and Gabriele thought, okay, maybe let's say that we put some, let's say, goals. And our goals is that we want to have everything up in less than 3 commas, possibly, or no more than 3 commas. Up in 5 minutes. Well, unless you are not sitting in my place, that because of a bandwidth could be longer. But let's say in the normal world, less than 5 minutes. That could be deployed and run on local or cloud. That can be cherry picking whatever you like. If I just need the MPI operator, I want to have MPI operator. If I just want to have PyTorch operator or Argo workflows or Kubeflow pipelines or a Jupyter notebook or H2O or Katib and so on and so on and so on. I just want to have them in minutes. Can we make that? And the answer was yes. And so that's why we built K3I. K3I is a project. We launched the project more or less 4 weeks ago, and we were so lucky to meet Sami and many other guys that are contributing with us. And so we said, okay, One, all you have to do is just take this single line command. We will install everything for you. Second, then you will run K3i init, just in case you don't have anything, and we will take care of everything there, and I will show you how. And then finally, K3i CLI apply that says like, hey, you can add everything you need from the list that we provide you. Any plugin is there in that. 3 commands, 5 minutes, up and running, job done. I know. Demo anyone? Because, you know, if you don't have a demo, it doesn't really make sense. Okay, let's start from the beginning. And the beginning is, sorry, just a second. Because we are in Civo, let's start from the Civo use case. So I got my Civo account there, as you can see. There's already cluster, but just for the sake of time, but actually, let's start from the init. And all I have to do is just, I want to deploy a new cluster. Init, cloud, Civo, and I'm starting. That's all I have to learn to install a cluster on Civo and then deploy my stuff. I copy and paste. I hope I'm copy and paste the right one. Oops, sorry. I'm copy and pasted the wrong one. Oops, that's user stuff. Sorry about that. I thought I got the right stuff. Just a sec. You know, it's not a demo if you don't have at least an error there. Okay, let me just come back here and do again. Oops. CLI init the cloud.civo. And this time we should be good to go. So I was saying like, okay, let's try to install that cluster. And it says, okay, well, how do you want to call this cluster? Let's call it K3i demo. And how many nodes you want on the cluster? Let's say 1. And which size? Well, G2 too large seems like good. It's 8 gig of RAM, if I remember right, on Civo. And you're good to go. That means that on my Civo, I should have a cluster there that actually is installing for me. All I need to do is just waiting, grab the kubeconfig. Later, we will grab the kubeconfig dynamically, but grab the kubeconfig and I'm good to go. That's all I have to learn to deploy and then starting to deploy stuff there. Now, for the sake of the demo, and I said, I already deployed another Kubernetes. So while he's doing that, we will check back that. Let me check on the other cluster I have, this one, K3i demo. And to demonstrate that, I got this slide where I got the famous K9S to show you that cluster. You see, actually, I've got a cluster there. And on the other hand, I can start to play with CLI. First things, hey, what's in for me as a plugin? What can I install there? And then we simply do a list. Now it could be slow because as I said, I'm living in a place where actually that is not really great. So you got Argo, you got H2O, you got Jupyter that is already installed there. You got Katib, pipelines based on Tecton CD, pipelines based on Argo workflows, MPI operator, and so on. And you can even do a group list. So what's the difference between a plugin and a group? Well, a plugin is what it says name. It's just a plugin. It's just that single application. A group is a combination of plugins. Like in my case, I want to expose the pipelines through traffic that is installed on my Civo. So all I have to do is just C3I CLI apply -g apply group, and I want to deploy Kubeflow pipelines traffic. That's all I have to learn to install pipelines. Now you will see that I'm grabbing the upstream manifest from Kubeflow in the right order with the right configuration, and in a, oh, sorry. I forgot that I did not have K3s here. And with the right manifest, with the right order, and then in a second or so, you will see that on the right, something will happen on my Civo cluster. That's all I have to learn to install the single pieces of the entire Kubeflow or any application I like on AI tool here that basically solve my needs actually to do everything that I want. So, oh, by the way, this is, okay. It's coming. By the way, I'm just figure out actually that I got another environment right now. Okay, it's coming, and in a second you should see that appearing. As I said, my life as a bandwidth is pretty interesting, as you can see. Gabriele at this point already deployed like 30 cluster. Typically, the first time we deployed something, it was like, hey, you just need 5 minutes. And I said, 5 minutes, like 40 minutes, there you go, Kubeflow's coming. That's all you have to do. Don't have to wait for anything else. And if I want to install something else, let's say, let's take another list. And let's say that I want to install, I don't know, Katib. Oops, sorry. Boom, done. I just need to know what I want to install. Now, Katib is pretty, oh, sorry, again, the same I wrote before. Katib is pretty interesting because Katib just not installs simply Katib. It requires also some operators like PyTorch operator, TensorFlow operator. So you will see actually that I'm installed them in the right order. Now, there you go. Adding some labels to Kubeflow to use Katib, deploy, there you go, the TensorFlow operator and the PyTorch operator, and then deploy the 4 Katib controllers there. So that's the use case. There you go, Katib. 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're deploying there. In the meantime, let's check the status of our deployment on the other side. Okay, it's still there. Was finishing branding, but as you can see, actually we have a perfect sync. Let's try to even understand how much is integrated. That let me just delete my cluster right away, and actually you will see that actually that the moment that actually the cluster has been deleted, I will not get the cluster anymore. Oh, by the way, it was just finished. I did not have in time. So let me come back here to the to this presentation. I was supposed to be in the presentation. Sorry about that. There you go. So as you saw, what we've done was, and just came back, exactly what we promised. One single command to start, one single command to deploy the entire infrastructure, and it can be local based on K2S, Mirantis, KidsOS, kind, or it could be cloud like Civo, and apply that actually can grab any plugin and go there. Now, one thing that could be really interesting is could be how much is difficult to write a plugin there. Okay, let me take a plugin. You remember the pipelines? I'm starting from there. The Kubeflow pipelines are simple as a name, plugin EML, and let me just grab this guy a little bit closer. There you go. And the upstream manifest from Kubeflow. So we just take care of that. Now, in case you wonder, the fact that actually Kubeflow works as a charm on anything that is not Docker as a container engine. So anything that it could be containerd or CRI-O is thanks to Gabriele. His upstream manifest on the Kubeflow community make this. Now you can see actually we can pass a customize directly, but also we can pass, for example, a file capability. Means you wrote your own EML and you just pass them up. Also, you can do it even better than this. If I do something like H, you will see that actually you can even pass a custom repo. Means you can create your own repo, you can create your own plugins and use them or mix them between your own plugins and etc. And that's basically everything you need. You can even, and this is something that actually we are literally building right now. You can even pass a config file. And a config file is nothing more than a simple YAML file that allow you to configure all the needs you have, every cluster you need to create, every application you need to create, so that actually you can literally embed K3i directly within your CI environment. Sorry, I lost the word. So with that, how it works. So docs.k3i.in, we are updating those right away now with the version 2 of the CLI. If you want to contribute, even just you want to test out things, those are the pointers. K3i.core is the Go client that we created. K3i plugins is where we build the plugins. We have a great Slack channel, and you are all invited to join the K3i. Invitation is in the website, on the docs website. As I said, everybody is absolutely welcome to join us, to help out, even just with the documentation or even just with the issue, open issue. Tell us what you need from us, and we will be more than happy actually to help you out. Now, with that, basically, I'm finishing. I know Gabriele did not feel very well today, and I really thank him to be there today as well. If you have any question, we are here, definitely.
Can I add some things here?
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
So one of the common questions here is, why should I use K3i and not Helm, Customize, Bash, etc.? With K3i, we support Helm, Customize, File, Bash, PostScript, all together. So if you want to create some group complex, you can create everything and you can mix all these technologies together.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well said. Well said. And the fact that also that you can use the local repo is a perfect combination, because you can have it's like a sort of app store. You can have your own plugin store where you can combine different technologies. The fact that you can recreate Kubeflow as a whole, but starting from a single point, allow you to have enough flexibility. So there was a question about having Kubeflow on the marketplace of Civo. Actually, well, if you want, as an alternative way, you can literally use C3I to deploy everything on Civo directly as a part of a marketplace, because in the end, we can leverage even some of the applications from Civo to be deployed there. So it's pretty flexible as a tool. That's why actually we deployed it, to try to solve the complexity that we all see in our market. Okay, I'm going to stop the sharing for a while. In the meantime, if you have any other questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. I see a couple of questions. I see a question about Kubeflow is only installable with YAML command line file. Currently, Kubeflow leverage a binary called kf control, but actually kf control simply use the YAML files underneath. So there's no single binary to be installed. Can Kubeflow handle streaming data like in Spark machine? So Kubeflow as a platform rely on many tools underneath. So Spark could be one of them. So Kubeflow per se is just a combination of tools. So for example, that's why it leverage operators like PyTorch, TensorFlow, etc. So it can leverage Spark underneath. So that's basically the way it works. It's not a single platform that does everything. It simply is a combination, is a combination of things that could be used. So Spark could be part of Kubeflow as well, could be used in combination of.
Alessandro, did you see Walid's question as well? One concern I often hear about ML in Kube is the lack of advanced scheduling, like in Slurm.
Yes,
so
yes.
ML job does not.
Yeah, I already answered it. That was exactly what I was explaining about high performance computing. So the difference is that Slurm is a scheduler in high performance computing. A Kappa-Lever Slurm is that you basically leverage all the nodes of a high performance computing cluster at the same time to parallelize the job task. What in Kubernetes, typically you cannot achieve that. Now, MPI is one of the capability to operate in parallel. And there's an MPI operator in Kubeflow, actually has been deployed an MPI operator, more generically speaking, around Kubernetes that try to achieve the same use case. The reason is, from one side, because in the high-performance computing market, there start to be requested the support for Kubernetes within high-performance computing cluster. On the other hand, actually to have the same parallelization within Kubernetes.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
And then just one more. We'll come to the other ones at the end in the main Q&A.
Yep.
If Kubeflow requires 12 gig on Kubernetes, does it require 12 gig on K3s as well?
So if you install the whole Kubeflow, yes, that is a requirement from Kubeflow. So it doesn't matter on where it runs. That is the requirement for the whole Kubeflow, and that's the reason why me and Gabriele we thought about let's say slice Kubeflow and allow you actually to install Kubeflow by modules. So using only the things that actually you care of, because this way we can reduce the size of the RAM demand. For example, if you just install pipelines, that is well, let's say the bigger component of Kubeflow, you will require anyways 8 gigs. But actually, we manage. It was a joke in the Slack channel one day, but I managed to have the pipelines running on top of a 2 gigs RAM edge device. Now, of course, you cannot really do anything with that. But if it is just to learn Kubeflow pipeline, you can literally run them on top of a 4 gigs RAM device.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.